Hello and welcome to another episode of Harp Lesson. My name is Zuzanna, for those of you who are for the first time, and I'm a harpist and harp teacher based in Edinburgh. And this is another one of my free tutorials for beginner and intermediate harpists. Let me know if you hear me well, if you can see me well, if you're watching live. Say hello if you want to. Always nice to hear where people are tuning in, where are you watching me from. Today's topic is going to be directional placing, so we're kind of continuing on what we talked about last week, but today we're going to be looking at that from beginner's perspective. So if you watched my preludes last week and you are thinking that maybe it's a bit too advanced piece for you, then today's one will be a really good introduction. Or if you've played the harp for a few years and you still find the directional placing a tiny bit confusing, then that's a perfect refreshment of that topic. Let me know if you can see me. Post a comment if everything is working. I can't see any comments now, and sometimes it's just Facebook or Instagram, but sometimes things might be not quite working well, so just let me know. As always, there is a free PDF for this lesson. I'm just looking at my notes to make sure that I say everything that I need to say. I put together some exercises and some tips from this lesson, and you can have them all printed or use them on the tablet. If you are already subscribed to my newsletter, you will find them under the same link as all materials for subscribers. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you will find the link to subscribe either in the Instagram bio if you watch me through Instagram, or in the link in the description of this Facebook Live if you're watching on Facebook. You will get also notified about new materials, new lessons, and any special discounts like the one last week, so it's really worth signing up to my newsletter. Now, before we dive in properly in today's topic, I've got one announcement, especially important to those of you who downloaded the PDF from last week or bought my Prelude in C major by Bach. Someone pointed out to me today, thank you very much Jane for getting in touch, that there is a small mistake in the PDF for that lesson. So when you remember the exercise for the chords and making sure that you use the right fingerings for the chords, there is one chord where instead of second finger there should actually be third finger. So this is now corrected. If you go to the subscribers section, you can download that PDF again, now with the correct fingering. And if you bought the Prelude, you can do the same, just download those 2 pages where the mistake was. And for those of you who bought the piece and are not on my subscribers list, I will be also sending you an email today to send you the link to the correct file. Okay, that's all for now, and let's move on to today's topic. So again, directional placing, but more from a beginner's perspective, what to pay attention to, where to get started, what do all those things mean. I will be using as an example for today's lesson a lovely piece called Pentland Hills by composer Anne Macdearmid. I hope I pronounced the name correctly, forgive me if not. This piece comes from the book for Grade 1 Scottish music exams. I will post the link in the description of that lesson so you know where you can buy the piece. And Pentland Hills is actually a place not too far from Edinburgh. It's a beautiful regional park, absolutely massive, with lots of places to hike and with sheep roaming freely around if you're into sheep. It's absolutely stunning, and the best thing about it is that it's not very far from the city at all. So if you're coming to Scotland and you're worried that you haven't got a car to move around and see all the beautiful places, that's one place where you can very easily have a taste of what Scottish landscape looks like without having to drive. You just jump on 44 bars from the main train station in Edinburgh, from Waverley. You sit on the bus until the very end, until you reach Balerno. You go in direction Balerno, then you walk for 6 minutes and you are there, and you're free to enjoy this beautiful landscape. You don't feel like you're anymore in the city. It's just like a place far away somewhere in the Highlands. You could easily imagine that you're much further away from the city than you really are. So that's the piece, and on a sunny day like today it's especially lovely, so do check it out. And I'll play the piece inspired by that place, Pentland Hills, and to give you an overall taste of what it sounds like and what's involved in there. And then I'm going to be talking about 3 things to pay attention to when looking at placing, learning to master directional placing. So this is Pentland Hills, and there we go. I'll just move the music stand a tiny bit further. Just give me a moment. Okay, hope it doesn't obstruct your view too much. Pentland Hills. That was the piece. So as you can see, much shorter than last week's Prelude, and also a lot easier. You could probably play that piece within your first year of playing the harp. And now let's have a look at what we can learn from that piece in terms of directional placing and bracketing. That's another way to refer to that particular harp issue. So when you look at the PDF for today's lesson, you will find the first point that we're talking about is how to write those things down, because if you're just starting to play, and also if you're more advanced, it's very useful to have those things notated and written down. So the main rule of directional placing is that if fingers go in one direction, they go under one bracket, which means that we place them all together. So when you look at the first example in the PDF, we've got 4 notes, and we have 4 fingers on because all those notes, that's the beginning of the piece, go up. So we play all of them, and then we let go one at a time until we are finished with the bracket. The bracket is not connecting anywhere further, so we're just letting go. I'll move the music stand so you can have a perfect view here on Facebook. Then the next example is again 4 notes, but in a slightly different configuration. Let's hear that. You can hear that the first 2 notes, from the first to the second note, we're going up, and then from the third to fourth, we're down and down again. That means there's a turn at that second note, and we will need 2 brackets to mark that. First bracket will be connecting the first 2 notes, and then the second bracket will be connecting the 3 notes from the end, because from that thumb we've changed direction already and we're going down. So those 2 brackets will be overlapping over the thumb, over the E flat. Then I'm leaving in the PDF an example for you to mark your own brackets. There's a tiny bit longer example from that piece as well, so you can have a go at doing that, and there's the answer at the end of the PDF. Then when you've got overlapping brackets, when you've got turns over a note, you need to make sure that you prepare your fingers in advance. Harp is all about thinking in advance and being prepared for your next move, if I can say so. So when you're looking at that second example, where we had the bracket overlapping over E flat, you have 1, 2 fingers going together, and then 3, 4 going together with the thumb. So you start with the first bracket, all fingers under bracket go together. You play the second finger, you can see that the bracket is connecting to the other bracket, so you're already preparing all the other fingers under that second bracket before you play the thumb. In the PDF you will see that placing of the notes is indicated by smaller notes put in orange. These are notes that you don't play, these are just to indicate the placing. And then you carry on playing all the notes, no more connecting brackets, and that means you're done. So let's try that again. Second finger, putting back 3 and 4, playing the thumb, playing third, playing fourth. And when you're looking at the example where you're meant to put your own brackets, I've also added the orange notes to indicate where the placing is going to happen. So that example goes thumb and second, plays back 2 and 1, second, third, play, plays back second and third, play thumb, play second, play third, because that's the end of the excerpt, so you're finishing your brackets there. Okay, so now that you know how to mark your brackets and how to read them, how you need to watch out for that point of overlapping brackets and make sure that you prepare the fingers in advance, I wanted to talk a bit more about how to be a bit more strategic with practicing these kind of sections in the piece, where you've got, for example, quite a few overlapping brackets next to each other. So, for example, at the very beginning of the piece, it goes like that. Our example from before, the one with overlapping bracket, but also the left hand already in the second bar also has an overlapping bracket going there. So how about we try to practice those two overlapping brackets together, but we let go of all the other notes. We've got that bracket of 4 notes at the beginning. How about we let go of that? We start with the left hand bracket, with the left hand overlapping brackets. We will put the right hand on, ready for the next thing, so we're putting our fingers on that first bracket. When we're playing, we're focusing first on the left hand, playing third and second, getting ready for the bracket, placing third. And now you let go of the left hand, don't play any other notes of the left hand, focus entirely on the right hand. Play second, place third and fourth, and play the rest of the notes. I've marked all the other notes in that section in grey, so you can see which notes you're letting go of and which notes you're actually playing. And then, of course, once you're confident with that tiny bit, then you can add other notes from before and after, but because they are a lot easier than what you're managing here, you need to focus on one thing at a time before adding more notes. And that was everything. You can buy the book Where Pentland Hills is through the link that I will put in the description of that Facebook Live. I will be seeing you all for another live harp lesson next week. Let me know how you liked this lesson today, if it was helpful, if you have any wishes for the future. I'll just get rid of that notification. I always look forward to listening about what problems have you got. I already heard that fingering is perhaps something that many of you find a bit challenging at the beginning, so I will have a look at when we can fit a lesson on fingering. If you know someone who learns to play the harp and would be interested in looking at that, share this video with them as well. And of course, you are always free to put comments and let me know that you like what I'm doing and that you would like to listen more. I always appreciate feedback, and of course, if you notice any mistakes like for the last week, do let me know. We're all just humans and I'm more than happy to correct the things. The advantage of digital files is that you can very easily swap one for another, and then you can very easily download the improved version. Okay, thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you next week. Have a lovely weekend all. Bye!